it's Susan from www.craftingchaos.co.uk. Today is going to be a technique video all about Starlight Paints by Imagination Crafts. Crafters Companion, which is the company that I demonstrate for, recently took over Imagination Crafts as the couple that wanted to retire. I've always been a big fan of their products, so much so that I have all of these pretty Starlight paints. So I thought that for any of my demo teammates that don't know anything about the paints or anything, that I would share with them and you some of the knowledge that I've gained from my time using them. So I've just picked a random colour, sky blue. Starlight paints are really super sparkly and you can create some beautiful effects with them, and there's so many techniques. I would pick the one that I haven't opened yet, but I'll use that. When it comes, it has a silver foil on the top. It's just to make sure that you get the most life out of your paints as you can. So all you do is peel that off. Once you've done that, I'll choose another blue. You get all this goodness that I don't know how much of the sparkle. Oh, can you see that? It's lush, isn't it? See, this sparkle within them is unbelievable, because in them they've got... Do you know what? I'm going to leave that in because I'm quite a klutz. So it means that if anyone comes to see me at a demonstration and I drop something, you'll just go, "Ah, oh, Susan." So yeah, so they come in loads of different colours. I think there's 40 odd. That's the jolly odd. And they're all absolutely beautiful. I think my favourite colour is this one. I just think it's so vibrant. It's like burnt orange. It's called orange oxidised. Anyway, so I love the paints and there's loads of stuff that you can do with them, and I love playing with them. So I thought that it would be something good to share. So I'm going to do quite a few videos showing different ways that I found to use them. So I'm going to show you a card that I made using these so you can see one of the effects that you can create with these paints. So like a Northern Lights effect, and that's using like a Sheena stamp and sentiments and stuff on there. So if you can see the sky, it is absolutely amazing. As I say, there's loads of different effects you can create. So I've done this technique in the past using Pebeo Diner paints, so people that have been to my demonstrations might have seen me using them, because you know, the paint, a lot of the stuff they do is the same or similar. It doesn't have to be like a Northern Lights background. Like, how amazing would a flower look cut out of a piece of card like that? Like, absolutely. And look at all the sparkle. And I used to pay a fortune for backing papers, pretty papers that were rainbow and mirror, and because I'm like a sparkly girl. Now I can make my own in a very short amount of time. And then there's this one. And you might, actually, I think that looks better that way. And you might be thinking, well, they look dead technical, I'm never going to be able to do that. Well, you will. Because it is so easy. I'm not an artist. I wish I was. Like, Sheena Douglas is like so talented. She is an artist. I'm a fraud. I was actually banned from doing art for my GCSE at school. I was that bad at it. So it's something arty has to be very simple for me to be able to do it. Like, yes, paper craft and all the techniques and stuff I'm good at. But when it comes to anything to do with like paints and all that, it's something that it has to be quite simple, and it has to be something that is quick and effective, because otherwise I lose interest. So those cards that I just showed you are all on black cardstock, so you can see that you get a completely different result, and they're both using the same colours. So you get a completely different result whether you use black cardstock or white. So that really affects the results that you can get. So there is loads of techniques you can do, and I am going to show loads of different ones over my next few videos. But the first ones that I'm going to show today is just how you can create these backgrounds dead simply. So to start off with, obviously I need my Starlight Paints. I'll have to retrieve the one that I dropped on the floor. And I've got either Sheena card or matte black cardstock, that using my template sheets that I showed how to make in another video, I've already cut to A5 size. And I'm going to do one on each just so you can see the difference again between the black and the white cardstock, and how it just totally changes the way that you can use them. So that is my plan for today. You need a really technical tool that is really expensive to be able to do this. Do you want to know what it is? A makeup sponge. I got 50 for a pound from Poundland or Pound World. The reason that I tend to use these is that I'm too lazy to wash sponges afterwards. In fact, I bought smoothies by Cosmic Shimmer and they sort of disintegrated on me because I'm terrible at remembering to wash stuff. So throwing it away is much easier for me. So I'm going to move the camera now and we're going to get started, and I'm going to show you how you can make some very simple but pretty backgrounds. Okay, so on my desk I have a glass cutting mat and also a non-stick craft mat. I'm going to put in the links below, as I always do, all the products that I use, but don't feel that you have to have the exact ones that I've got. So you don't need to have both of the non-stick and this when you're doing this technique. It's just that I'm quite messy, so I like to be able to like pick one up and carry it away when it needs to dry. So as I said, I've got black cardstock. So you need to sort of think about the colour palette that you're going to use. Whenever I start a project, I always think about the colours and try and pick them out first, because if you just randomly pick up colours, they can mix and go muddy. So if you have a colour palette in mind, it really brings the look together. I'm going to have this dark orchid. You've got to have a bit of hot pink. I've got to have my favourite, the orange oxidised. And blue. And I'll have the emerald. So they're the colours that I'm going to use as my main colours for this one. But I always find that you need like a metallic or a pearl to sort of bring it all together a bit. So can you see on this one, like the pearly coloured there in a mixer, it just adds a little bit of something that I think just finishes the look off. So I'm going to go with a little bit of silver, and I think that that will create quite a nice combination. I'm now going to show you a way that I make the most out of the paint that I've got while I'm preparing to do my project. Because it's quite repetitive, I've recorded a voice memo and sped up the video so that it saves you watching me just do the same thing time and time again. So all I'm doing is using a paintbrush to take some of the paint out and put it on my mat. Then, because like most crafters, I absolutely hate wastage, I'm just wiping the paintbrush onto a piece of black card to get as much of the paint off as I possibly can. Then normally I would spray it with water to get even more of it off, but on this occasion I'm just wiping it with a baby wipe. The paints are really special. They've got crushed gilding flakes in that are both silver and gold, and that's what creates that really sparkly effect, sort of similar to gilding wax, and you can use it to do the same techniques that you would with a gilding wax, but of course there's more colours. The Pebeo gilding waxes that I'm a big fan of, they only come in 4 golds and 1 silver, although 2 of the golds do have a coppery shade to them. So having something similar available in pretty much any colour that you can imagine is really special, and it opens you up to a whole new world of things that you can do with them. They also dry very quickly, so you don't have to stand around waiting, and I find that by the time I've taken the top off one, the other one is dried, so I can move straight onto my work, so you don't have to wait for each colour to dry before you move on. They can be used on almost anything. I've seen them used on fabrics, on glass, wood, obviously on paper, so they're really versatile on what you can use them on. Right, so I'm just going to add a little bit of pink, just to tidy it together and go in those corners. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water. And then my baby wipe that you saw me using before, I'm just going to dab on it. And if you keep rotating it, you'll get those nice colours coming through. Can you see how the colours from behind, like the green is starting to make its way through? It's a bit silver and gold. You can rub little places to get the colour that you want. And I'm just going around the corners just to make sure that the corners are actually covered. And then you have, with your wastage, a really beautiful piece. I mean, that would be stunning with a flower cut from it. And normally I would play with that a little bit more, but I'll show you what it looks like when it's dried at the end. So I'm just going to clean this off. And I say, look how pretty that looks now. It's got such a sparkle to it, so that will also get used, no wastage. So as I said, really technical tool of this brush, not brush, sponge. So I'm going to start off showing you how you can make this sort of background. It's also the same sort of thing that you would do, that sort of background, sorry. It's also the same sort of thing that you would do with the Northern Lights. So apart from on the Northern Lights, you would choose like a centre point halfway up, and everything would just come down to that area. I hope that makes sense. So all I'm going to do is pick up a bit of each colour. Now it doesn't matter, your paints are going to mix. That's totally fine, that is actually sort of what you want. So you can see my sponge has a bit of everything. Because what makes it so special is when the colours mix together and you get all these effects and things. So I like to hold mine at a diagonal, just because I do. I don't know why. And swipe. Now look, can you see the glitter in that? Isn't that amazing, and all that colour? And just keep swiping in. Now it is best if you don't try to go over the place you've already been, because then the colours sort of mix together more. But on your first one you will always need to go back over, because otherwise your first one will be a lot heavier than the other stripes. So can you see how that's coming together? So then I'm just going to turn it around. Oh, there's that orange coming through, or at least it was. And you can pick certain colours up at certain times. So say you say, oh, I want a bit of orange there, just pick up a bit of orange and use the side of the sponge to just add that colour. Just because I've got some lines, because I'm doing it quicker than I would normally. Now look at that. Isn't that absolutely stunning? So that needs to dry. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the same colours on the white, just to show you how completely different it can look. So again, this time, instead of doing it from the corner, actually no, I will still start at the corner originally, but I'm going to imagine that there's a horizon line, as if I am going to do the Northern Lights this time. So I'm going to sort of have this as my centre point and sort of come in towards that. Now this one is really bluey. See how you can add just bits of orange. You could even go over the top with splattering on white paint. With this looking so blue, you could splatter on paint and make it look like it's snowing. So this time I'm just changing the direction just so it sort of looks like the sky is coming all over. Okay, so I've just had to change my camera battery in case you wonder why there's a jump in the footage there. So I'm just doing exactly the same thing, but this time I'm starting from the centre and working my way out, and each time I'm rotating it. Don't worry too much about those centre bits because we're going to come back. Now I bet when you saw the samples of these techniques that most of you will have gone, oh my god, like that looks so complicated, I could never do that. Can you see how easy it is? Right, so that's what it looks like at the moment. So then what we're going to do is start at the top and work the way in. Just keep turning that paper. And there you have a beautiful starburst effect. And then you can go in again with different colours. So you want a bit of orange, just pick a bit up and add it. Or you want a little bit of a highlight, add it. So it's all down to how you choose to use it and what your aim is. So, and as you can see, this is the 3 that I've just done. All using the same colour palette. And yet they look completely different. I apologise that there's a little bit of glare on the screen. One day I'll be able to afford to invest in some proper lighting. And this is the one that we did at the beginning with what would have been wastage. Quite cool, isn't it? So that is them, but then hang on, we've still got all this paint on the mat. What are we gonna do with this? Well, that is where backgrounds like these come into it, because what I'm gonna do is dip my cardstock into it and just give it a rub, and you've got texture. And then it's starting to dry a bit, so you add some water. Now this is a proper water spray. There is also misters, which I'll be using in other techniques later on, because sometimes the spray is too heavy for what you're doing. So see, how can you see the gilding flakes starting to come out? So I'll just keep picking up and colour. Now for some reason, whenever you do this, pinks and blues always seem to be a more dominant colour. I don't quite know. I know it's something to do with the colour wheel and primary colours and stuff like that, but I'm not an artist, so don't quote me on that. So that is that. So I'll leave that one to dry, but I've still got all this, so then I'll go in with another sheet. And see how it's just so beautiful. I mean, that could be a card for a teenager, because they're into all abstract and funky cool things, because they think that no one has ever been a teenager before them. And this is just one of the things that you can do with the, well, I say one of the things, I've shown you a few different ways that you can sort of do the same thing. But this is just one of the techniques, one of the videos that I'm going to show you that you can do with. There is so much more to come. So if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe, because you're going to kick yourself if you miss out what's to come. See how pretty. And it looks like I've spent ages doing it and I've planned it. Now if you struggle with dexterity issues, which I know quite a lot of people do, you could use a brayer to go over the top of this, so there's always ways around doing things. So that's that now. It looks really cool. And I'll go back in with one I just did and just get some texture on that too. I'll spray a bit more water. And this is what I would keep on doing if I wasn't filming. I would just keep spraying and picking up and spraying and picking up and spraying and picking up. because I think the backgrounds are really funky, and as I say, I hate wasted. So I'm going to leave that there because I don't want to bore you. So I will wipe this up, but I'm going to use a clean. Actually, no, I'll use a tissue. So I've got here a clean tissue, and I'm just going to spray water on, and then keep rotating it as I pick up the paint, because I never even throw away the tissues. Those that come to my demos will know, and have probably gone home with a few of my paint or sparkle pen stained tissues. Ooh, just a little bit more water. And that will do. So that is the start of possibly a galaxy. So I'm going to finish that one there, and there will be more videos on these paints to follow, because I'm going to record them right now. Take care, and thank you, and as I said, hit subscribe. Bye.